Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. This is Tara with Tara's Take. So what I've done today so far is I have started doing some sewing on our snippet roll that we started yesterday. I apologize, my lighting's not super great right here, but I'm doing kind of a floral stitch. You can see it on the back here, I'll show you. And I'm going to take it up the sides, okay? So there'll be a strip on this side and a strip on this side, and I have gotten about halfway down. I'm going to go ahead and sew this, and I may pause it so you don't have to watch the whole experience of sewing it, but we'll see. So I like my sewing machine is a Singer Brilliance, and I really like some of the stitches that are, you know, in the computer of the sewing machine. I'm using right now, it's number 54, in case you have a Singer that has the different stitches on it. Of course, you don't have to use this. You could use a straight stitch or zigzag, or you can not stitch it at all, or you could hand sew it, however you prefer to do it. I like this stitch because I have a lot of flowers on here. It's gonna go with the theme of the rest of the cover, because I'm going to be using some trims and some flowers and some pretty edgings, possibly some lace. So this particular stitch looks very nice on a cover. It's just one little accent that's pleasing to the eye. You know, just adds a little something special. But it isn't a necessity, of course. I've done this one on a few of my journals now, and it seems to be popular. They like this look. It's the ones I've sold in my Etsy shop. So when we're done and I'm finished decorating this journal, it will go into the Etsy shop. So I'm just going ahead and getting it ready for sale. And also, as you can see, we let that snippet roll dry completely, so we're not having any issues with glue, which was one thing I wanted to make sure you noticed. Okay, I'm just gonna pull this off and snip that, and then do the other side. Yeah, when you let that glue dry, and I let it dry overnight, I haven't touched it since yesterday. Yeah, you don't get any problem for your needle. And I don't know if you guys can see that stitch or not, but that's it. Such a pale pink, it's not showing up real strong. But it goes with the material, the fabric, so the design. Plus the design of the fabric is floral, so, you know, makes it nice. And this really, you know, we use glue for everything, but this is really sealing down what we glued down yesterday. So, yeah. Okay, and my needle. Just a second. I feel like my thread is, okay. All right. Now we're going to do the other side. So I'm just going to do the other side exact same way that I did that one. And I like to bring it in a little bit, do a slight, I put it back on straight stitch so that I can do a nice back stitch and get this started. That particular stitch doesn't do real well if you're trying to do a back stitch. So I don't want to get it all knotted up, so I go ahead and put straight stitch, and then I switch it back to the floral stitch that I want to use. Okay, here we go. We're going to start again. Okay, I got to be real careful. My machine tends to grab and it'll knot my thread. There we go. Okay, there we are. And I'm not doing any pulling or anything. I'm really just guiding it and holding it steady for the machine, because it's doing that pattern and it needs to have most of the control. I guess I'd say the majority of the control. So I don't need to really do anything but just make sure everything stays straight and stick with whatever speed I'm pressing on the foot pedal, you know, to just stick with that natural speed that the machine is utilizing. I want to make sure this is doing right. I notice my thread's lifting a little bit. Okay. Hold on. Yep, I thought so. Now I am having a little tiny bit of residue on my needle, and that is causing conflict for my thread. So I'm just going up here with my fingernail and kind of wiping that off, cleaning that a little bit. I've had this happen before. Hopefully I won't have to pause and change my needle. Okay, let's try again. Looks like it's doing better. Yeah, for the most part, I think it's doing okay now. For all those seamstresses out there, I apologize if I'm doing anything wrong. Please feel free to help me out, direct me. Like I said, I'm not a seamstress. I have no problem admitting that I am not a seamstress. I do enjoy using the machine because I have no formal training, and I'm just using it for my junk journals. I feel very, what's that word? Successful when I accomplish. You know, I feel very accomplished when I actually have it work out the way I intended it to on my sewing endeavors. Because of not being professional at it, I'm actually always kind of shocked when it turns out okay, you know. My husband is so kind. He bought me this machine last year when I said I wanted to start sewing paper. He looked at me kind of like, huh? And then we went out, he's so good to me, he went on OfferUp and he started searching and shopping for me. And within that weekend, I think it was that same day actually, he's like, do you want to drive into town? I think I just found you a machine, and she said she'll take, you know, $100 for it. And I was like, okay. So we drove in. Sure enough, I met with the lady. She was a little sweetheart. She sold me this machine, and it's been a dream. It works so good, and I love it. So, yeah. Thank you, my honey, for my sewing machine. After I got it, I decided, hey, maybe I could sew some fabric too. And so I started buying fabrics for my journals, and I thought, well, I'll give it a try. And that's how I ended up doing all of this. I just, little by little, I got more interested in different things. And, well, I'm sure you all know the story. We've all kind of had a beginning somewhere, whether it was scrapbooking, card making, you know. Everybody's got their how they ended up in junk journaling story, I think. So yeah, it kind of, there's a few spots where the needle jumped a little and the thread did too, but other than that, it looks pretty good. Yeah, it looks good. I'll show you guys in a better light here in just a second when I move. I'm gonna go ahead and pause for a minute if my phone will cooperate. Let me pause, and I'll be right back. I'm just moving the machine and getting us set up for the rest of the video. Okay guys, I'm back. So here is our snippet roll, and Probably should just call it our closure and pockets, because that's really what it is. So if you can see that, it's got, let me get that light so it's a little better. So we have like this floral stitch going down. Can you see it? It's pretty, right? I'm looking in the camera to see if you can see what I'm seeing. Yeah. Okay. So that's starting to look a little snazzier on there. And I have brought along, we will not be using everything that I brought along, but I figured we would have a play and see if we could come up with some kind of, pretty additions to this. So what I'm going to do first, I do know that I want to do this for the snippet roll, and then we'll go to the journal cover. I'm going to go ahead and choose, I think I'm going to use this pink. I do have this ivory color, but I'm not sure which one. I think I want the pink one. I don't know, maybe it's a lot of pink. I don't really want to stick with ivory because I have such a tendency to be a matchy person that I end up feeling like I've got to, which I'm doing again with this, aren't I? Yeah. So, okay, when I first did this, I had shown you guys that we're going to roll part of this in to make our closure, okay? So when I put this down, this is the seam binding, the crinkled seam binding, and technically I wish I still had some of this green. I had some green like this, but I am out. So I am kind of compensating with what I have here. Let me see real quick. I want to show you something. If I can. Let's see. Wait. That would be pretty too. Let me look here. This is a really cool stretchy trim that I picked up. I'm just looking to see what it would look like going down the center. It'd be pretty. It's got the roses on it as well. And what I did with this, in one of my other journals I used it, and I used my ink on it, and I made it a purple. So instead of it being ivory, so like I'll show you real quick what I'm talking about, just so you kind of get a idea. I'll just grab, okay, so I used an ink, and I like to use, for something like this, I like to use the permanent ink, because then later on when somebody purchases it, it's not going to fade, it's going to have more of a resistance. But as you can see, I just brush the ink on and give it the color that I want it to have. Okay, so I'll probably go ahead and use some of this in the journal. And then even with this one, I remember opening it and brushing it on into the inside of the ribbing so that it really looked like it was almost, made in that color. I didn't have any of the colors showing through, so you can see. And it works pretty good. I use it on, like I do it with these flowers that I get. I use ink and change the color of them. And I've done it with various things. I've done it with this trim. I love to do it with this trim. I cut these down individually. You do have to be careful with them because, of course, the strings in the back come out. So what I do is, if it loosens when I cut it, I take some hot glue and I just touch it there and glue down that string so it doesn't come off, because otherwise your little pearls are going to come off. I've had that happen a lot, so you have to kind of be aware of that. But I think I won't use this. I'm pretty sure what we're going to do right now is we're going to get our glue. Okay, and I'm going to try something really quick just because I have to. If I were alone, this is what I'd be doing, so I'm going to do it with you guys as well. I would be trying it out to see if I like that. That's pretty, actually. I'm not doing it real strong because I'm not committing to anything yet. And I don't want to waste it. But I kind of like that color. That's nice. I even have a little bit. This is my thistle. I love this color. Let's see what this looks like. This is more of a kind of more of a burgundy purplish color. Let's see. Can you see the difference? They'd both go with this, actually. Yeah, that's nice. Or we can stick with the ivory. I wish I could hear you guys so I'd know what you think. Oh, and I was going to show you real quick another thing I do. I love the crinkle seam binding, and so if it's going too straight on me, I just sit and squeeze it and bring back, see, get it to fold again. Sometimes it, once you open it, sometimes it'll start to kind of straighten out a little bit. All you gotta do is refold it. Okay, just squish it up in your hands. And when I first saw the seam binding, it was with Gail Agostinelli, and I was like, what's the point of that stuff? And then she used it for her tags, and it was so adorable, and I fell in love. I was like, oh my gosh, I gotta have some. So that's when I looked it up on YouTube, and like I've said before, there are videos that show you how to do it yourself. However, I get mine from BC Hands on Etsy. I'm gonna go ahead and use this pink like I thought. I have a little brighter pink I could use, but I think it's almost too bright and too purpley looking for this particular project. So what I do is I started here between the two stitchings, okay, and I'm just gonna kind of pull it back a little bit because I may change what I do for this, but I'm gonna definitely be, you know, bending this somewhat. Oh, you know what? First, before we do this, just so I don't have any cut marks, I'm gonna go ahead and measure this out for our pocket, okay? Sorry about that. I want to get that done first, and then I will do the gluing of it. So I'm going to go ahead and cut this right there and see if it'll tear for me, if I can get it right. Yeah. And the reason I'm tearing it is so I get that rough edge. You do have to kind of make it work for you. I just don't want it to be, there we go. Oops, oops. So you kind of get your rough edge back, okay? And then what I do is I take it here. Okay, so we have one pocket. And I might, that'll be fine. And so then I'm going to take it again and measure it out again. Okay. Okay, and we're going to tear it again. Oops, it's not quite enough. This side's, there we go. It's not really the material, it's me. My hands aren't strong enough to pull it apart. That's the problem. It's wanting to tear, but there we go. I got it. Okay. Well, this side needs a little trimming here. So now we have our two pockets. So see, these are gonna go in here, okay? And they're gonna be hot glued in, and you'll have pockets right there and right there, okay? So that's that part. And then this part is the closure. And hopefully I made it long enough that I will have, yep. I could have gone a little bit, like maybe an inch longer, but I'll make this work. So yeah, so that's going to be our closure, okay? And when I do the quilt pin, I'll kind of fold it and it'll be tucked in like that, okay? If I still do the quilt pin, I'm really contemplating doing what I saw my friend on Sasibo do. I liked her bead with the elastic. I really like that idea. So I may end up doing that, okay? So right now we're going to go ahead and set this aside and lay out this part, and I'm going to go ahead and glue it. And this is just going to go right down the center, and I try really hard not to lose that crinkly effect. So I'm going to go ahead and just put down some glue here, little by little. You can also use the hot glue if you choose to. This glue does really well on the, it's that, you know, the art glitter glue. It does very good on this little, the trim, I mean, or the binding, I'm sorry. And I just kind of hold it down for a second, and as you can see, it's folding in on itself, and I encourage that. I want it to do that. So it looks, when it dries, it kind of gives it a look like it just fell onto the material, like it just fell on there like that, and it's just laying loosely like that when it's not. So that's why I like that. Like I said, you don't need much, just a little thin line. In fact, if you use too much, it'll dry on the material and make it kind of look, you can kind of see where you've got glue. So yeah, if you can keep it from doing that, it's a good idea. So don't use too much. The reason I went ahead and did the pockets and tore this down was because of the fact that the last couple times I've done this, the binding first, and then when I cut it, it was chopped, you know, and I could pull on it and kind of make the strings come out a little bit, but it just, I figured, why not just cut it first, and then that way you don't have to worry about it looking like that. So, and what you can do too before the glue dries is, if you want to, I do this a lot on the paper when I use this, is kind of just squeeze it and it bunch it up a little bit. Adds to that crinkled look. Okay, almost to the end here. And I may not match this up on the pockets inside. I might do something different. I'm not sure yet. So I'm not going to put any on those yet. I have never, well, decorating on camera for me is brand new anyway, but I've never thought to, I never decorated on camera in front of anyone doing my journal covers, and they're kind of, like I said, sometimes I have to study it out. I pulled out all the stuff I know I want to use on this cover, and I'm gonna attempt to do it with you guys and let you see my process. And unfortunately my process sometimes is too long, and I know that we don't have all day, so you know what I mean. Okay, so there we have, that's for our closure strip that we're going to use. And then when you cut this, you can just kind of, you know, do a little pull and kind of loosen that up. But there's that part. That just kind of looks crinkled and bent on the thing. And I'm going to sit that aside and let it dry. And now I'm going to pull in the actual cover, and this is our inside, remember? And I wanted to make sure and do this as the front, because if you remember from our first video, I accidentally glued these the wrong side, so I am going to put those on the back. Just putting a little glue on that one. It was kind of really raised up. So this is going to be my front. I need to remember that. So now what I do is I make sure and choose the one that I know I want for the front cover. Okay. And I think now that we've sewn it and everything, if you need to, you can kind of tack down, you know, your cloth here. I think I'm going to put this one as the back because I see more imperfections on this side than I do this one. And I'm going to do this one on the front. Okay? So I'm going to get my hot glue out here and prepare a second stick because I probably will run out. And I'm going to run the hot glue along the inside here. Get that stuck down right away. I have tried hot glue and wet glue. I find that the hot glue does hold very good against the fabric, so I do like to use it, and it dries faster. And so I've been using the hot glue for this, and I do like it. And I make sure that our little squares kind of hang over just slightly, as much as possible without being too much, you know. And I use this edge, if you can see, I hope, to guide me on that part. Okay. I think when I cut my pockets, I might have cut them a little, this first one a little longer, and that may be where I'm lacking in my length on the closure part. It's okay, I'll make it work, but you know, like I said, doing this on camera is a completely new experience for me, and I think I'm a little nervous that I'm going to make mistakes, so of course I'm making mistakes. Isn't that typical? And then we're going to go ahead like I did before, run this down this part. I'm going to stop there because I'm almost out of glue on my stick and make sure I put a new one in. So I'm ready. Okay. It was so funny, last week I was on Amazon and I was almost to order a new glue gun, and my husband and I were looking at the glue guns and I was looking at the crocodiles, and he's like, well, because I thought I broke my crocodile and my glue gun didn't have a stand, and I was like, you know, I need one that has a stand. And so he goes, oh, okay, but he was looking with me at him, and I go, you know, I broke my crocodile. He goes, well, let me look at it and see if, you know, what happened. And I said, okay. Or not crocodile, crocodile, you know what I'm talking about. And we started looking at it, and he goes, well, where is it broken? And I tried to show him, and I realized that I hadn't broken it. So I didn't order the crocodile. And then we're looking later, I'm looking online at Amazon, and I see, I had thought I bought this glue gun at Walmart. Well, I'm on Amazon and I see it on Amazon, and I'm like, oh, there's my glue gun, but it has a stand. And so I grabbed my gun and realized all along mine had a stand. I just didn't see it. Yeah, so anyway, a little bit of bearing my silliness to you there. I thought it was pretty funny. My husband's like, I'm really glad you didn't order all that stuff. I said, yeah, me too. So now we have, I'm going to trim this just a little bit. And I tore that one, it kind of was ripping it. Okay, so now we have the inside of our cover, and it has these pockets they bring the front, you know, they bring the outside of the cover together with the inside of the cover, and really, you know, they're really very, very usable. They're about what, 2.5, 3 inches deep. You can even, before you glue these in, if you do decide to make one of these, you can, and I've done this before, you can take another piece of cloth and you can attach it to this part so that you can bring this out some more and make an even deeper pocket if you'd like. Okay, so now we are on the outside. Where are we at in time? I'm going to check I can't see it. Well, hopefully we aren't too far along. Okay. So now I'm going to go ahead and pause the video really quick. I want to grab something to drink and I'll be right back. All right, guys. So let's start by kind of looking at a few of the decorative things I've brought along. So I brought some of these flowers. These are really good to, if you look at these, they're kind of together, they're lace, and you can trim them apart and lay them out. And I do that sometimes as kind of, I'll just go ahead and cut one of these. I just go around the petals lightly and kind of lay them here and there, and it kind of starts the ball rolling sometimes with this, for me. Bring my garbage can closer. And I brought along some pretty, you know, different trims, and this one I had put some blue on. I'm going to trim that off because we don't need that right now. That was for my other journal I'm working on. Okay, so got some of this. I really love working with these kind of things. They just bring such a, I don't know, flair. Got some of this here. Let's see. I showed you these a little while ago. These flowers. Some of this. And of course, we won't end up using all of it, but I brought it along to see what strikes, you know, is looking good on this one and what's laying right together. Got some of this. Lots of bling in there. This one's pretty. I have this in white and in black. I use this one on my purple journal as well because of the purple rhinestones in it. And then I took the brush and I did the cloth in purple, and it turned out so nice. I loved it. It was very pretty, and the girl who bought it was very, very pleased with it. And let me see. I know I've got some other things in here. I have, you know, this will probably be something I can use inside the white lace. And this one's nice too. We've got some of this. And these flowers here I showed you a minute ago are real pretty. I love these. These are very fun to work with. They come in different colors. And I also have painted these with ink when I needed to. Got some of this here. This one's pretty. And so, and this one's real nice here too. This is pearls. So, I'm leaning more toward the white with the background here of this particular fabric having the white in it. I've even actually taken the ink to my journal cover and changed the color of the fabric. One of my prayer journals I did was black and white. I took vintage photo ink. I took the permanent archival ink. Yeah. In vintage photo, and I painted the whole thing, basically the journal, after I got it all laid out, in that brown, and I gave it a grungy look, and it turned out awesome. I really wasn't sure what it was going to do, but it ended up being really a fun journal. So don't ever look at something and go, oh, I can't use it because it's white, or because you can change it. You can change the color. You can even change the color, like on these flowers here. I've done that with them as well, but I'm thinking because of the white, and I don't necessarily want to go in and grunge it out or anything, that it'll be fun to utilize some of these whites. Now this one here I probably won't use because of the rhinestones having like that purple look to them. I'm thinking it's a little too much. The opalescent in these flowers is more subtle, and I think they'll be okay, but those are too bright. Let's see here. Now I'm going to pull this back, and I do think what I'll do is I'm going to lay out some of these little lace flowers real quick and see if that kind of gets the ball rolling here. So I actually got these in a bag, it was my first purchase of lace last year when I first started doing this. I've officially been junk journaling for a year this month. So happy anniversary to me on my junk journaling. And I had gone to a little thrift store that we have here in Coolidge. It's called Dottie's Deals, and it's family owned, and she just takes anything and everything from everybody in town and resells it, and it's like a wonderful yard sale in her shop. And these were in a bag that I picked up, and I thought, you know what, I probably will be able to use those at some point. Sure enough, I sure have, and I've used them on my journals, on my covers, and I really like them. I've used them on a few pieces of ephemera as well. They're just simple little lace flowers, but that's what we use, right? So I'm gonna go ahead, and I think I will go ahead and commit to putting some of these down because I'm gonna build on top of them, but it won't be bad for them to be showing through. So that's what we're gonna do today, is we're gonna lay these out first, and then we will begin to lay some things down, see what goes, see what doesn't go, and decorate our journal. And you guys will then have my junk journal cover process down. Like I said before, I may go ahead and do a video that kind of shows every aspect of it, but I'm not sure, so I don't know if I will or not. I was thinking these, and then before I glue anything down, I always play with it a lot on this portion of it. I don't decorate anything fully until I know what I want to do. I'm sure you all know what I mean. I do think I'm probably going to do some inking on these, actually. There's a piece, oh, here it is. I was looking at this because I think I want to use, I was playing with it before I came on video, and I wanted to see. I'm pretty sure that I'm going to use some of this, so I'm going to cut this too. While I'm at it, I like to trim this apart because then I have more control where it lays, And what I do is, it's kind of like it's in 3 portions, these little, and then these big chunks, or 2 portions, I'm sorry. And so I go ahead and trim these apart for the front and the back. And I do decorate both front and back. I probably don't decorate the back as much as the front, but I usually do decorate both. I had just bought some more of this, that's why it's not trimmed down yet. So it was so cool. I went to a church thrift shop here in town that they've closed down for the summer because it gets too hot for them to be in there. But I went in there and they had a child's robe that had these beautiful appliques, or appliques, I always say that wrong. These beautiful appliques that were very similar to this, but they were vintage. And I already used them on another journal. Bummer. So I didn't hoard them though. I bought them, I tore it down, and I did use them. So I was proud of myself. I didn't try to hang on to every little bit and not use it, you know. And that journal sold, and so they're gone from me now. So where's my, oh, here's my glue. Okay, I'm gonna grab my other bottle. That one's almost empty. I keep 2 at the ready here. So you gotta make sure you're on the right side of your lace, okay? And then I just take a light, oh, that brown. I told you guys about the rust. Remember what I said about that? This is doing that right now. Let me clean this off real quick. Sorry, guys. Have to make sure it's, now it's stuck. Glue problems. All right, let's see. Make sure and get the white back. There we go. Okay. Do that again. So, okay, we're gonna, I just take them lightly around here like this. Okay, kind of go around that center. And I just scatter them, trying to make them look, I try to make it look like it's random, but you know, it's kind of not actually. It's actually pretty planned out. At least on this is. Not everything, but. And like I showed you guys before with the other stuff we've worked on with the lace, I just use my dry wipe and press it down, and it dries really nice. And okay. All right. And like I said, this is going to be, better use a different dry wipe. See that? The black on it. I'm sure it's not going to be anything that's not dry and would get off on it, but I don't want it to, just in case. But like I was going to say, what was I going to say? I lost my train of thought. Darn it. Oh yeah, I was going to say, make sure when you check, when you do your lace, to double check. Now these, I'm lucky, these actually have like a shiny little thread on the outer part, so I can tell, but most lace doesn't have something like that. And just run it along there. Okay. Press. Oh, that's what I was going to say. And what I was going to say is that you don't have to worry when you're first doing this part. It's almost like collaging. You know, you're building it. It's gonna change and grow as you add things to it. That's the thing I love about collaging and anything that's like that, is that it's like painting a picture. You know, when you do a painting, you do that furthest point away from you first, and you build toward yourself. You know, and that's how I feel about this. Like, this is going to be, this is my canvas, and this is my furthest point away from me, and I'm going to build out and make it something that it's not right now. So I used 5 on the front and just kind of scatter them like that, and I'm going to do the same thing on the back. Okay, put that down, and that's also going to help your cloth, your fabric, to hold down where it isn't sewn. You know, like on this portion it's not sewn, it's glued, but like I told you in the beginning, the first video, we're going to be gluing things on top of it. Well, that's what's happening right now, and so it's going to make it more secure. Okay, when you're all said and done, this puppy will not come apart, I promise you that, because I've had to take it apart because I've made a mistake. And it was tough. I've made mistakes with my inner pockets, the ones that we glued in. That was funny. And believe it or not, I was able to tear it up and still put them back down correctly, or do the change that I needed to do. And I thought I had messed it up completely, and turned out that it wasn't, thank goodness. So, okay. And I'm going to do one more set here. I'm going to cut one more set apart. Where'd they go? Here. Okay. I don't know what I'm going to do when I'm finally out of these. I had a huge stack, and my stack is getting smaller. I try really hard not to focus on the hoarding factor, I guess I'd call it. You know how we tend to get something we really like and we don't want to let it go, and we don't want to use it all because we're worried we won't get it again, that kind of thing. I try real hard not to focus on that, and just figure, you know what, I'll find something else that'll work. It may not be the same thing, but it'll replace that particular item, and I'll just move on. Well, if we're hoarding everything we have to use for this, you know, because it's beautiful, we'll never use anything, and we'll never make anything, right? So, but I totally get the hoarding thing. I really do. There's some things that you look at and go, oh, I just don't want to part with that. What if I never see it again? What if I never get it again? You know, there's a particular lace, and it's kind of funny. I saw it and I see it repeatedly on videos for Tina on Shabby Dabby Doodah, and it cracks me up because I find myself searching for that lace everywhere I go. I mean, I really do. I search for it at the store. I've searched for it online. You know, and you may have seen it. It's the one that she uses that's like it looks almost like a beige with a dark blue alongside. So it's very vintage. And had to get a drink, sorry. And I just absolutely love that lace. Yeah, so I see her use it a lot. And I always laugh at myself because I'm like, I'm looking for it again. Now these pieces here are a lot of fun because once you cut them apart, and this lace is not vintage, it's new. I mean, I got it at Hobby Lobby if anybody likes it. And it's more like a wedding trim, but I just love the bling on it. I think it just makes things look so fancy, you know. So what you can do, you can lay it either way, but what I usually do is make it go like that, okay, when I do use this, and kind of lay it so that it isn't touching or anything, but it's, you know what, I think I need a smaller piece. I have to do it like this. I don't know, let's see. There we go. Yeah. So that is possibly going to be our next layer. And I was looking at this one because I like it a lot. And it kind of has that same flare. And let's see. I'm going to cut it about right here. Yeah, I guess I'm good where I'm at. And I was thinking, I don't know if I think I have enough for it to go there. And then like, nope, not quite. I was going to do it on the top and the bottom, but I don't think I have. I guess the top would be good, but nope, can't use it. I like to be able to do that full picture when I do an edging like that. And since I don't have enough of that one, we're not going to use that one. Let me see. This is more of an ivory. See that? Can you tell? It's more of an ivory. It's white, but it's almost not quite as bright a white. It's kind of like an off-white. I'm trying to find if I have any that. Ouch. Here we go. I have more of this. This is a nice one. I have a smaller piece of it right here, but I have quite a bit of it right here. And it goes well too. I'm not sure though. I think I have enough to do it on the top and the bottom. Let's see. Like I said, this is the part that takes me kind of a long time, is deciding, you know, how I want everything to be laid out, because as you know, it's got to be right. You know what I mean? It's just got to be right. I was looking at this one earlier for it. And I was thinking, oh good, that's torn. Okay, or cut. I really wanted to use some of these. I love these flowers here. And like I said, I like to darken them with whatever color I'm working with. I like to kind of, I'm wondering if I want to put them possibly along the sides. And then I have these I always use. I usually use these right here for the most part. I have had journals where I put them on the front, and then I'll even put like jewels in the middle. But I was going to check here real quick and trim this and look and see if laying them out. So see, now you can see the lace through of these flowers. Okay. But we're also going to do some covering of them. And I'm just going to grab real quick my jewels I want to look at. I have these here. These are fun. I got these on Amazon, if anybody's interested in knowing where they came from. And sometimes I'll do this. Those are pretty, huh? I'm going to trim this down real quick. I'm going to have to trim both sides anyway because it's a little bit crooked on that end. Okay. So I just want to get kind of a picture of what I'm possibly going to do here. We could lay. I really wish I had enough of this. Let me check something just really quick. Oops, I dropped that one. That's okay. I want to check something real fast here. Because it's possible it would look okay with it just on the top or just on the bottom. But I just think this would really look nice with this one here. So that's why I'm going to peek here real quick at this. Let's see. I wish I could hear you guys, because then you could tell me if you think that we should go from the top or the bottom. I'm kind of thinking because of the way it might look nice on the bottom. And then let's put this one back down. Okay. And then put this one here. That looks pretty. And I also use a lot of, if any of you have seen any of my stuff I've posted before, you'll know that I also use a lot of the, I'll make sure and have some type of a jewel on the front. Um, Now I have some really pretty ones here. These I get all over the place. That one's pretty, right? This one's like almost like a locket, see? I have these crosses. And then I have this one here. This one might be nice, or even this piece here. I love to have the bling. Gotta have it. I gotta have it. I just do. That one's nice. I have this crown. Isn't that pretty? You know what I'm thinking is that if I put, I think that if this were on the top, it actually might look better because of the balance of the actual cover. I want there to be, that's the thing that I want to make sure I have balance in what I'm doing. Okay. And I appreciate if you guys are sticking with me. I cannot see how long this video is yet at this point. It's hopefully not longer than an hour. I don't think I've been on here for an hour, but I'm probably going to go ahead and end the video at this point here in a minute or two, and then I'll go ahead and pick it up again for a second video on the decorating part of the cover. But yeah, I actually really like this piece. And we're definitely gonna put some of these flowers. I'm going to change their color, and I want to do that on video with you guys. Let's see here. I have these too. Sometimes I will use more than one thing. I'm not sure if I have any that are the right color. That one's nice. Let's see, that's too much. That one's pretty. And these are barrettes. What I do is I break off the back and then I use them on my covers. So you can kind of see. That's pretty. What do you think of that? And then the back, of course, would have the white flowers and a piece of this right here, like so. Oops. And I wouldn't have these, of course. Now this is more of a peachy coral color, so maybe that pink one would look better. Let's see here. Where did I put it? Okay, I just had it. Did I throw it back in here? Yep. That would probably look better. There we go. Once you take that off, that lays flat. I don't know. Yeah, I think I might use that one on here. And put these guys back. Or should we use that? That's pretty, isn't it? Look at that. Isn't that pretty? I love those. Now what I do is I buy buttons for the most part. Some of these are brooches, you know, some of them are for necklaces and stuff, but for the most part I buy buttons and use them as my bling. Oh, here's a nice one. This one's really pretty. Let's see. This might be the one, just period, and not have anything else on the front. I don't know. What do you think of that? That one's nice, right? I'm not sure yet. Okay, well, what I'm going to do is I'm going to say goodbye for now. And when we come back, we will go ahead and finalize our decision on this, and then we will be set to go ahead and start gluing some things down. And then I'll get the closure ready to go on. I haven't decided yet if I'm going to go ahead and make this something that slides on, like can be clipped onto it, or if I'm going to actually use it with the buttons, where I usually glue it to the base and then I build on top of it. That's what I normally do. So like it would go underneath all of this, you know, and then that way everything would be built on top of it like that. Okay, that's how I usually do it. So we'll see. I just haven't determined yet what I want to do because of seeing my friend's video and really liking the way her closure went with the button. I really thought that was cute. So I don't know yet. Okay, so anyway, I'm going to close it down for now, and I will see you guys tomorrow, I hope. And thank you for sticking with me, and we will get this decorated in our next video, okay? Have a great day, and thanks again. Bye.